tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and the creator of Embodied Astrology. Embodied Astrology is much more than these horoscopes in our podcast. It's actually a movement that is full of people who are interested in the ways that astrology can help us more deeply embody our earthly and universal intelligence at this time. We offer ongoing classes, workshops, trainings, and community process spaces where we practice astrology as a language for living. We blend astrology with art, science, healing methodologies, and activist strategies. We hold space for ourselves and each other to expand and explore symbolism, mythology, and meaning, to queer, unpack, and evolve this ancient technology in service of our present needs and future potentials. If this sounds like something you've been looking for, or if my readings resonate for you and you want to take them to the next level, I hope you'll join us sometime. Stick around after your horoscope and I'll tell you a bit more about what we offer, how we work, and why I think embodied astrology might be a great space for you too. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free, or help us keep all of our offerings available with financial accessibility and sliding scale, please take a moment right now to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. This season's horoscopes are intuitive offerings for each sign of the zodiac. May they serve and support you in some way. Listen for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Remember that not everything is for everyone. Take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's most meaningful for you. Thanks so much for being here. Now, onto your horoscope. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Scorpio season. This reading is for all Sagittarius placements, and that definitely includes your sun, moon, rising. You probably know that Scorpio is the sign and the season that comes before Sagittarius. And so whenever we're working with Scorpio energy, we are working with a place in the Sagittarius psyche and substance that is just before something becomes conscious. And that just before place might be similar to the kind of halfway asleep, halfway awake, drifting between dreams and your mundane reality kind of space. It could be a space that is kind of in the like psychic, unconscious, and subliminal collective space where you feel something and you're affected by something, but you don't know what it is. An example of that is just environmental factors. I am a chemically sensitive person to certain chemicals, as we all are, and have had experiences of, oh my God, my head hurts so bad, what's wrong with me? And then I realized where I live, there's a lot of wildfires, increasing amounts of them as we move into our, days of climate change. And the smoke in the air, even if I can't see it, my body knows it's there and I'll get a horrible headache. And so it's not so much what's wrong with me, but what's happening in the environment that my body is picking up on and attuned with. And then how do I need to take care of myself so that I can be in this environment? So this place right before something becomes conscious is getting really charged over the course of Scorpio season because the sun is there, and wherever the sun is bringing energy. Over this next season, Sagittarius, you might feel really affected. You might feel affected by certain things and you think it's that thing, and then, you do something about that thing, but then you're still affected. You might feel agitated, itchy, allergic to things. You might feel all kinds of sensitivities over the course of this season. And you also might have this sense of being in between waking life and dream, where something is trying to work on your consciousness and things are happening to your body mind or inside your body mind, but you can't quite grasp it yet. It isn't totally tangible yet. You don't know quite how you want to communicate, what needs to be done about it, what needs to be embodied or fixed or changed, etc. So over the course of this season, I want to invite you to tune into the gifts that Scorpio has to offer you in this placement as right before something becomes conscious. Now, Scorpio is a symbol of deep water. It is a place where, on a symbolic level, everything that is manifest meets and then begins to merge and morph into each other. This is a place where it's an energy where resources get exchanged, and in the exchange, new things happen. It's a space of alchemy. And in any alchemical process, there has to be a release of form. And so Scorpio is also a sign that is associated with death and with dying processes. But we would be remiss to forget that Scorpio is one end of a polarity with Taurus. And so death and dying is always part of fertility. It's always part of life and abundance. And what Scorpio offers us is profound, potent power when we give it back to the earth, when we give it back to consciousness, when we learn to sacrifice, to make sacred, to put things down, especially when we're putting down our own ego, especially when we're putting down our own attachment to perfection, and to the ways that we think something should be, including ourselves. And when we put it down, and when we get sensitive and attuned with how everything is shaping everything, what is there then becomes highly intuitive. And psychic capacity and intuition and deep penetrating perception, these are gifts of Scorpio's energetics. And to you, Sagittarius, this is always what's right before something becomes conscious, is you have feelings about things. You know something without knowing it. You, when you're relaxed and really tuned in to exchange, right? Whether that's your breath, whether that's the space of intimacy between you and others, whether that's the space of intimacy between you and spirit. Whenever you're kind of working on something or working towards something, if you can relax, be your brilliant self, not try for it, there's actually so much intuition that guides you. And so Scorpio season is a time that may feel itchy, agitating, irritable, affecting you. And all of those irritations are going to get worse if you don't make space to be with them and to listen and let them work on you and work on your psyche and unconscious, so that your psychic capacities, your empathic, sensitive, intuitive, and attuned wisdom and intelligences can come forth. Now, over the course of Scorpio season through the end of the year and into the next couple of months of 2025, there is this kind of back and forth energy for you. And I think that the back and forth has a lot to do with how you want to move forward with some important things that feel like they are inherently part of your self-growth and your self-development. This has to do with you. In a lot of ways, all fire signs are here to be their own teachers and here to be their own guides. There is a way that fire as an element has to awaken to its own inspiration and potential and realize and express that. And so you're in this period of time right now where you want to move forward in a particular way. I think you want to bring yourself and your self-expression and your sense of power and your autonomy and your agency, and there's kind of like this quality of uniqueness where it's like, this is who I am. Hey, look at me. This is what I'm doing. Some of you may be in positions where you are navigating your own leadership potential. Some of you may be in positions where you're thinking about what do you have to offer or what do you have to teach others. Some of you may also be thinking about the teachers and the teachings that you have received, and the path that you are on, and the morals that you hold very dearly in your heart, and what you uplift as a sense of like your highest purpose at this time. And I think that you are trying to move in that direction right now, but you're also getting pulled back. And you're getting pulled back necessarily because there are intimacy issues, there are trust issues, there are things that need to be navigated in the in-between spaces between you and others, and also with you, with yourself, and with your own psyche and subconscious and unconscious. And what happens when something is not quite conscious for you, but you're trying to take action on it anyway, and how that then might manifest in missteps or inappropriate exertion of your own energy, misuse of your own power, etc. So over the course of this season, if you are feeling all kinds of irritable and out of sorts, or if you have this sense of like, I don't know how to do the thing that I'm trying to do, I don't know how to get to the place that I'm trying to get, and there's like frustration or edginess, or you feel a lot of despair or grief, or it's like you can't really rest in it, it's okay. You're right on time. You want to turn towards those feelings. Where are you feeling held back? Where is there a rub? Where is something that won't let you move forward? Whether that's internal for you, whether that's someone else not moving forward with you, them having an issue that needs to get worked on, whether that's the world worlding and life lifing and going, hey, I'm sorry, this option isn't available to you right now. What then happens for you on a psychological level, on an energetic level? I want you to notice, Sagittarius, what happens when you feel defeated. This is so hard for fire signs, right? What happens when you feel like your fire gets dimmed, or your enthusiasm and, excitement about something gets some water poured on it, and it's like, wah, wah, wah. And all of a sudden you're in this place and you're like, fuck. And what happens? Do you get angry about it? Do you get angry at other people because it's their fault? Do you get angry at yourself for all the places where you messed up and should have done better? Do you lose hope entirely and you're like, this just sucks and it always sucked and I don't know why I ever thought that I could do it and like, fuck it all? Do you avoid it and like try and press forward with it anyway, even though all the signs are like bright red and like, turn around? Do you get addicted to things? Like, do you find outlets for the feelings that you're having and you're like, can't deal with it, I'm just gonna go have a drink, I'm gonna have a smoke, I'm gonna watch a million hours of TV so that my emotions get dispersed and I don't really have to be with them? That's all right on time if that's what's happening for you. But what you need to do is turn towards it. You need to give it some space, give it some time for processing. And I'm going to say that particularly as we get through the first week of Scorpio season and into the Scorpio new moon on November 1st, some of you are like this. Some of you are going into your cave. I don't know what your cave is, if it's a cave of defeat, if it's a cave of mourning and grief, if it's a cave of mistrust, if it's a cave of anger, if it's a cave of really wise, intentional contraction and coming towards your own self. You need to encapsulate a little bit right now, and that is so healthy for you. That's actually so needed for you to just come in to be with your own energy. Now, as we get into the month of November, the first 2 weeks of November, your energy starts to shift. Kind of right off the bat, after the new moon, something breaks through for you and you're like, I got it, let's go. You've like worked through it and you want to move forward. Now, please, Sagittarius, this is the time for you to be really actually kind of slow. Some of you are going to feel like you have to move forward. There might be a sense of like urgency or hastiness that comes in. It might be anxiety that's driving you. Some of you might feel really enthusiastic. This is a key word for Sagittarius. Enthusiasmo, to be with God, right? You are like, ta-da, got the vision, let's go. But we are in a very tenuous, tender moment as Saturn is stationing direct Right before the full moon on November 15th, Saturn is currently square to your sign, and it is saying, hey, Archers, hey, Sagittarians, slow your roll. Because this is a time to build foundations. And the thing about, if you're going to build a house, the foundation is very, very important. And if you rush the foundation, you risk your entire house. If you're so focused on putting the roof on and decorating that you don't make sure that your ground is level, or that you put in the wiring for the plumbing, you're sad. You know, you're sad when that house gets built because it was your own damn fault. And you're going to be like, smacking my head. Why didn't I pay attention to that? So the first 2 weeks of November, my friends, don't be hasty. And I'm saying that at a time in the world when there are so many stimulations to our central nervous systems. There is so much fight or flight activation that's happening in the collective. There are so many needs for us to actually be urgent right now. There are problems that need us to attend to them and fix them. One of the biggest problems that we have to attend to and fix is the embodied paradigm of urgency that flows through patriarchal white supremacy and capitalism. This idea that we have to do it now and we have to do it, we got to do it this way, and I got the answer and I know and I can see where. No. Pause. Take some breaths. You are not here alone. You are working with other people. There are other people involved in whatever it is that you feel so urgent about. And how you collaborate with other people is actually the focus of your life for the foreseeable future. How you collaborate with other people is more important right now than you shining your big light, doing your unique thing, and being out there as an individual leader. That is old news. The new news, the real news, is that you are not here alone. The fake news is that you can somehow be alone in it. The real news is that you are working with other people. There are other people involved. And the time that it takes to coordinate is not up to you. It's not up to any of the individuals. It is a collective bodily evolution. And so slow down. And I'm going to say that this period of time, I said like the first 2 weeks of November, getting into the full moon, this is a period of time when a lot of you could be hasty because you think that you know where something is going, and you might have some great ideas. Please take care of yourself by when you go to implement those ideas or tell other people what they are or something, that you're always framing it in the context of, this is an idea. This is not the only truth. This is not the only way. This is just an idea. Can we try it in an experimental kind of way? And can we build in reflection time? You need ample reflection time through the end of the year and into the first couple of months of next year. You don't actually know how you want to move forward with your own projects, with your own ideas about who you are and what you stand for and what you're doing in this life, and especially as that relates to other people and to working together. This includes all kinds of other people, but I'm going to say it's most important in the relationships where you are trying right now to either build a foundation or restructure a foundation. So whether this is a newer relationship or an older relationship, the relationships to really take your time and be attentive with right now are the ones that you can see potentials to carry forward, where there is a need to actually build something really solid at the base so that it can hold the weight of what you're trying to put on it. And for some of you, this may be a period of time where, you've already built the dang house and you're with somebody up there on the top floor and it's like, kunk, and you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit, we have a crack in our foundation. And then you need to attend to it together. Don't despair. This is an opportunity. This is not a horrible thing, even though in the moment you might be like wringing your hands and just like praying to the mystery to take you now. It's like, it's okay. It's not that dramatic. Actually, this is an opportunity if you can sense into it that way. Now, I'm coming from an energetic, celestial, cosmic perspective where I have the privilege to dwell in moments like this where I can be like, babe, it's an opportunity for your soul. It might suck for the rest of your life, but it's an opportunity for your soul. You're going to evolve. You're going to learn. The next lifetime you're coming back, as a well-loved house cat. Like, just chill. So again, there are so many reasons right now for us to feel activated, afraid, enraged, urgent, hasty. Shit has hit the fan. We are in a period of time on Earth when there are no guarantees. There never has been, but there certainly isn't right now. It is still an opportunity for you as one drop in the ocean of consciousness to do what you can to heal and attend to the rifts in the foundation and kind of stabilizing elements of the collective as you work with your personal situations. Because whatever you're working with on a personal level is bigger than the people inside of it. There are issues here that are bigger than all of you. And these issues require collective process. And since we can't have everybody all over the world across all time and space come help us with our personal issues, like right now, tomorrow, then we have to be with our personal issues with a kind of generosity of heart and spirit and openness of mind that can spread out in their context to hold that what's coming through in these kind of, microcosms are part of the larger, part of the macro kind of evolutionary flow right now. So please don't be hasty, Sagittarius. There are ways that you want to move forward right now. There are things that you want to say. There are ways that you want to express yourself. Some of you have exciting projects that you're working on that feel very creative. They feel very self-expressive. They actually feel like deeply potent and powerful in like a personal alchemy kind of way, and you getting in touch with your magic and power kind of way. And everything that you do right now into the first, let's say all the way into like March of next year, everything that you are doing, you want to kind of engage with it as an iterative devotional practice. And you're like, this is just a moment. This is just a layer. It doesn't have to be the most. It doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly like I want it. I can move forward and back. I'm doing things right now that I know I'm going to have to make adjustments to later. I know it ahead of time, so I'm not going to be disappointed then. I'm going to work intelligently now to set myself up with a situation that gives me permission and support to go back and refine it later, because that's the thing that you're working with right now. And this is all in service to what is coming up in the future for you. And this is the foreseeable future, okay? So the next decades, you are learning to work in community with collectives, with groups, with multiples, with social in a new way, in new ways. You are learning to collaborate in new and different ways. And it's bumpy. It's a bumpy ride. People are people. People will people. That's definitely guaranteed. You're a person, you're going to people. You're going to put your foot in your mouth, so will other people. People are always bumping into each other, upsetting each other. It's not the end of the world. If we don't need to constantly escalate and make it worse and worse and worse, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, but we can just be here like, wow, what do we want to, how do we want to just approach this? How do we want to play in it? How do we want to sense in it? What's bigger than us that's informing this moment? How can we hold ourselves in context together? That's the kind of energy that you are bringing to the future, and that the future is asking you to practice in your life. So, Scorpio season wants you to keep all that in mind. And I think that this itchiness, this sense of like agitation and irritability, and the feeling of, okay, like I gotta go, I gotta make a move, but like, I don't know, how do I sort it out? It's so complicated, blah, 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 blah. Like all these things. Give yourself space and time to be in your body. Give yourself opportunities to be with the sky, to be with the land, to be with your breath, to be with the more than human realms, the plants, the trees, the animals, the birds, the bees, your spirit guides, your team, your ancestors, your elemental friends. Source yourself in what is bigger than you, that you are embedded in. And remember that from that perspective, there's literally no rush. You are part of universal consciousness unfolding. You're in a human body. Human bodies experience strife, suffering, pain, and death. We experience confusion, particularly in our relationships with one another. And all of that is the stuff of life. That is the stuff of joy. That is the stuff of nourishment, of sweetness. And that's what we're here for. There is nowhere that you can get quickly that is going to be the fix or the answer for what you're trying to work out. It absolutely requires a process. And the process becomes generative and brilliant when you show up and you're like, it's going to be a process, like, yay. We're gonna go back and forth and reflect and have time to work it out. And, you're not trying to make something that's not ready to be yet. So turn towards those places where you're like, ugh, and listen, because there's so much for you there. There's actually so much intuition, there's so much spirit, there's so much support for you right now to help you move through this time. If you slow down, if you trust, if you listen, and learn in this process. Learning is the name of the game, and it is going to guide you on this path that you are moving forward in as a leader and as a teacher and co-learner human being here on Earth. So I hope any or all of that resonates with you, Sagittarius. If it did, please stick around for the next couple minutes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what's happening with astrology, how Embodied Astrology is working with astrology, and some chances for you to get involved and work your own astrology with us. Wishing you all the best in in Scorpio season and beyond. Thanks for listening to your Scorpio season reading. If this horoscope resonated for you, please show your support by liking, following, and subscribing, and by sharing our work with your friends and community. These are the #1 ways to support this work and help us grow. If this work benefits you, I also hope you'll consider working more deeply with us at Embodied Astrology. Because we time our classes, workshops, and events with current transits, we're always offering to the present moment, and we are usually right on time. Every month and throughout the seasons, we engage the creative, experimental, and experiential aspects of current astrology. And our work is always given with an ethos of generosity and accessibility. Our classes, workshops, and series are available with scholarships and by sliding scale, and no one is turned away for lack of funds. We do rely on your support and presence to keep us going, though. Please help sustain and support our work by making a one-time or recurring donation, or becoming a member, or sign up for one of our current or upcoming offerings. This season, I hope you'll join me for Somatic Space, which is a class I offer every Monday where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. You can drop in once to try it out, or if you become a member, you'll also get access to the past classes video archive and Tea Time, which is a monthly conversation space where we learn and share how astrology is moving through our lives. Both Tea Time and Somatic Space are great ways to get to know me a bit better and for me to get to know you. Our conversations and practices are always rich, vast, and heartfelt, and the connections and community that build in these spaces is so deeply nourishing and incredibly special. In early December of this year, Mars will station retrograde in Leo. Over the course of the following 3 months until next February, Mars will retrocess or retrograde from Leo to Cancer, where it stations direct at the end of next February. Between now and December, the retrograde influence of Mars is increasing as we move through what's called a shadow period. This is when a planet is traveling direct over a zodiacal degree range that will be imminently revisited by its upcoming retrograde. When Mars is retrograde, especially in the signs of Leo and Cancer, we all need to work with our basic instincts and impulses more attentively. These are times when small misunderstandings can escalate quickly into large conflicts, and when anger, aggression, and desires that are unconscious or unprocessed in our individual and collective experiences can surface suddenly and sometimes quite dramatically. These are also times when we can grow immensely and develop our individual and collective strengths, courage, capacities, and what I think of as our deep spiritual will. Ultimately, this is a transit that wants to help us use our power with more consciousness and also up-level our emotional and energetic awareness, especially around areas of conflict, impact, and intent. Sorting through the stuff of conflict is messy work. No matter what the conflict is, there is always more than what's visible on the surface. Since our personal and interpersonal experiences can't get separated from the institutional, environmental, and ideological, it can be profoundly overwhelming and hard to move towards conflict transformation when most of our issues are totally complex and entangled on multiple levels. In order to prepare for this transit, our faculty member, Ramon Parrish, is offering a 3-week series, November 7th through 21st, called Constellations of Conflict. In this series, we'll do the work of investigating the intersections of conflict as they emerge in our individual bodies, interrelationships, shared spaces, and the larger world. Through the lens of astrology, we'll use our natal placements, synastry, and transit timing as guides. We'll explore how current astrology and this Mars retrograde can help us navigate, engage, and skillfully meet this time of profound conflict and transformation here on Earth. This Scorpio season features a grand trine between the Sun in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. This season, more than most, is a time of deep water and intense feelings. In astrospeak, water always asks us to move down and inwards, and to get in touch with our emotional bodies and internal experiences. Working with the wisdom of water also assists in working effectively with Earth. When we can craft and create containers that hold space for feelings to be as they are, we'll naturally find our way into flow, and what we don't need we can let go in ways that nourish, cleanse, hydrate, and sustain. Over the weekend of November 9th and 10th, Embodied Astrology facilitators Gabs 404 and Junata Petrus will hold 2 watery, earthy sessions to make space for the following week's Taurus full moon. In November 9th's Nebula Lab, Gabs will be joined by Dani D'Emilia, a non-binary, eco-trans feminist artist and educator whose work with radical tenderness and hospicing modernity invites intimacy into the layers of life right now. This is an opportunity to be with the immensity of the moment, get grounded in our bodies, politicized in our healing practices, and held in our humanity by the larger cosmic web of inseparability. The following day, November 10th, Junata Petrus returns for the Taurus full moon edition of her monthly Artistic Alchemy series. In these classes, we orient with a full moon axis in our charts in order to reflect on our creative devotions and the realities of surviving in a capitalistic world that is filled with uncertainty and possibility. We practice staying grounded with the rhythms of astrology and spirit, channeling the wisdom of cosmic alignment, and opening to celestial guidance from our ancestors as support for living creatively through times of unknown. Following Junata's artistic alchemical opening, Sherry Taylor and I will co-lead a special council session the following weekend on Saturday, November 17th, which is the day after the full moon, where we'll focus specifically on astrology and ancestral attunement through working with the symbolism of Saturn. Sherry has been faculty at Embodied Astrology for over 2 years now, where her work in deepening and expanding Saturn's mythic and archetypal symbolism has yielded a powerful path of devotional practice. Our co-led session initiates a new cycle of Saturnian devotion, which Sherry will lead through 2 subsequent sessions, culminating on the December solstice. You can find more information about everything and everyone I just mentioned in the show notes or through the study section at embodiedastrology.com. If you can't make our live events, but you still want to participate, your registration will always include recording access. I certainly hope to see you soon over Scorpio season in one of our spaces. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening and engaging. I'm wishing you all the best in this season and beyond. Bye for now.